Hi guys, welcome back to yet another video from BioBuddy, and in this video we will be talking about the respiratory system. So I think you must be familiar with the respiratory system and what is the meaning of the basic term that means respiration. But a lot of people are confused between the two terms, respiration and breathing. So the basic difference between respiration is breathing. I don't think it is a very basic difference. It is a huge difference between respiration and breathing, right? Respiration is a process which is occurring inside the breathing. You're breathing normally, taking in oxygen, giving out carbon dioxide. That is breathing. But respiration is a process which is going on inside your body also, externally also, internally also, and cellularly also, right? So respiration is a process in which the oxygen, when it is going on, when it is going inside your body, oxygen is doing what? It is reaching all the cells of your body. जितना भी ऑक्सीजन आप ले रहे हैं अंदर, you're breathing in some amount of oxygen, वो ऑक्सीजन अंदर जाता है और फिर क्या करता है ऑक्सीजन? It goes inside, it goes to each and every cell, and as you all know, cell has stored energy. सेल के पास क्या होता है? The food that we are eating. तो जो वो फूड होता है वो छोटे छोटे पीसेस में जब डाइजेस्ट हो जाता है, वो डाइजेशन होने के बाद वो कहाँ जाता है? सेल्स के अंदर. As soon as the food now reaches the cells, what will happen now? The cells will help in the process of storing that food. Now what will happen? Food is stored. अब आगे का प्रोसेस क्या होगा? अब जब फूड एक बार स्टोर हो गया, अब क्या करते हैं हम ब्रीद इन करते हैं ऑक्सीजन. ठीक है, दैट इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ ब्रीदिंग. ठीक है, अब हमने जब ऑक्सीजन अंदर ले लिया, ऑक्सीजन क्या करता है? सेल्स के पास जाता है. इट गोज टू द सेल्स इन विच द फूड इज स्टोर्ड. जहाँ पे फूड स्टोर होता है वहाँ पे जाके वो उस फूड को जाके ऑक्सीडाइज करता है, राइट? लेट मी जस्ट ड्रॉ हियर फॉर एग्जांपल. दिस इज द सेल. Let me just draw that. I'll show it to you. This is the food which is stored inside the cell. Oxygen comes in and then oxidize happens. It oxidizes the food. Oxidation process में क्या होता है? Energy in the form of ATP is being released out and heat plus some amount of water is also being released. So this is how our body is getting energy from the food that we are eating. जो हम बोलते हैं कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स, फैट्स, ये सब तभी काम कर सकता है जब उसको ऑक्सीडाइज करने के लिए कोई चीज़ हो. तो ऑक्सीडाइज कौन करता है? ऑक्सीजन. सो ऑक्सीजन विल कम इनसाइड योर बॉडी एंड इट विल ऑक्सीडाइज द फूड दैट यू आर ईटिंग एंड देन देयर बाय रिलीजिंग हीट as well as the energy in the form of ATP and some amount of H2O. But the main thing that is being released here, which has to be expelled out, that is CO2. CO2 is the major thing that is also being released after you are breathing, after the oxidation of food. When the food is oxidized, CO2, which is produced inside your body, has to be eliminated out because it is toxic to your body. Right? So CO2 has to be eliminated out. That means, again, which process will take place? Breathing process. Now let's come to respiratory system. Now the respiratory system basically consists of three types: external, internal, and cellular. External respiration means when it is happening through the external body surface. So the nostrils, when you're taking in the air from the external environment, it is called as the external respiration. Right? I hope you are getting it, guys. If you're not getting it, please pause the video, see that part again, and then you can play it forward. So that's a major benefit of these videos that are going on these days. You can just pause the video wherever you are thinking that it is going on too fast for you, so you can easily just pause the video and watch it again. So second is internal. Internally means it is happening inside your body from the outside. When through the nasal cavity, it is going inside your body, inside the lungs. It is called as internal. Now from the lungs, when it is going on into the cells, and in the cells when the oxidation process is taking place, that process which I've told you here, this process is totally called as cellular respiration. So this is the three types of respiration which is going on in the respiratory system. The three types of respiration are the, and I've already told you the difference between breathing and respiration, right? So now next is your lungs. Right, so now there are four cavities inside the human body. There are four cavities. The four cavities are, first is oral, or also known as buccal, then nasal, then abdominal. I'm not writing it in sequence, guys. Then is thoracic. So the sequence will be, first comes the nasal cavity, then comes the oral or buccal cavity, then comes thoracic cavity, and then comes abdominal cavity, right? So this part of your body, this part is known as your buccal cavity or the oral cavity, from which you can easily bite in your food, take in food, right? So this is the buccal cavity. Above your buccal cavity is your nasal cavity. Nasal cavity is basically the part which is making a cavity here, and from the nostrils you are taking in air. Through that nostrils, what is going inside? Air, right? Next is the abdominal cavity. Now in the abdominal cavity, what is present? Sorry, third was the thoracic. First nasal, then buccal, then this part till here is your thoracic cavity, in which your lungs, your rib cage, sternum, vertebral column, everything is present. It's called as the thoracic cavity. Next is the last is the abdominal cavity, where your intestines and your pelvic girdle lies. It is your abdominal cavity. It is forming the abdominal cavity, right? So the four cavities you know now, but the lungs, which we're talking about right now, which is the major cause of interest right now, is present in which cavity? It is present totally in your thoracic cavity. So what is happening in the nasal cavity? This part is known as the trachea. So trachea begins and it has these rounded structures around it. These rounded structures are called as the ribs. Ribs are present around it so that it provides the ability for the trachea to stand straight. Trachea is a very hollow tube-like structure which does not have the ability to stand straight on its own. So what happens in trachea? Trachea is surrounded by bones which are helping them in providing support, providing to stand properly, right? So in this it is standing properly, and now the trachea further divides into two bronchi, right? This bronchi is known as the right one, or this is left one, or either side, right? So there are two lungs, right and the left, and in between the lungs what is present? The heart is present, which is the size of your fist, right? So now primary bronchi will further give rise to secondary bronchi, right? For example, it is starting from here. This will be the primary bronchi, this will be the secondary bronchi. From the branches from which it is arising, this will be the tertiary bronchi. Uske baad bronchioles. After primary, then secondary bronchi. After the secondary bronchi, it is tertiary bronchi, and after the tertiary bronchi, the term is changed and it is known as bronchioles. And the ending part of that bronchiole is called as the terminal bronchiole. Now the parts here in this diagram are finished, but not really, they are finished here. Now it is beginning from here. This is the end portion. Here I have told you till terminal bronchiole. Now the rest of the part will be shown here. In the terminal bronchiole, what is happening? It is further giving rise to the respiratory bronchiole. That respiratory bronchiole is further dividing into two parts. Again, it is divided into two parts. The two parts are then called as the alveolar ducts. These alveolar ducts give rise to balloon or grape-shaped structures called as the alveolar sac. These alveolar sac have small structures called as the alveoli, which helps in the exchange of gases, right? So from here, these are very thin epithelial tissues are present inside which the diffusion process takes place, and through the diffusion process, the respiration is possible in these figures. So I hope you guys have liked this video, and I should say that you should spread this video as much as possible so that all your friends get help, and you should always help people, right? So I hope you guys like the video. If you really like the video, guys, do click the subscribe button and click the bell icon so that you get notified when my video is coming, and stay tuned for the next video.